here's one thing, guys, I want you to start thinking about. We have to think, who is our viable presidential candidate right now? We have to start thinking about who can actually win. Tim Walz, I don't know. I like Tim Walz, and I'm watching him, but what I saw in the VP, like, he folded in some critical moments. So let me just tell you about Tim. Tim is great when he's alone at the mic. When Tim is bad, when the press sat Tim down with a reporter and Tim Walz, and the press said to him, "You're a liar. Here's where you were a liar." Dude, Tim fucking caved like a motherfucker. Oh, I'm a knucklehead. Oh, he didn't know how to handle himself when he got caught in a lie. And dude, if you're going to become president, you got to be able to fucking wiggle out of a lie, bro. That's like fucking job number one, man. You got to be able to lie and wriggle out of that shit. You got to be able to charm and subterfuge and use the subtle language and turn it around on the reporter, turn it around on the Republicans. And Tim failed at that. The other thing he failed at was he wasn't ruthless. He got into a VP debate with J.D. Vance, and he made J.D. Vance look like an okay guy. Bro, he humanized J.D. Vance. We don't necessarily need a good person as president. We need a capable fighter as president. You need somebody who can take 50 blows to the chest and go and kick a Republican in the throat. We need good people in Congress making the legislation. See, Tim Walz, I don't know. We'll see. Tim Walz is not necessarily ruthless. Pete is intriguing because Pete is smooth, but Pete is also kind of ruthless, dude. He's a little ruthless. Pete can fucking swing, bro. Dude, I don't know if Pete's going to run, but we do have to start thinking about it. Like, I know Tim wants to be considered, and I'm not closed off to Tim. I don't want you guys to think I'm closed off to Tim. I'm not. I'm open to the idea, but I'll be honest. He would have been so good in the Senate, right? But I don't think Tim, though, I don't think he is ruthless and nasty enough. Because let's face it, guys, to be president, you gotta be ruthless. You have to be fucking ruthless. Everybody's out for your head. They're trying to frame you. They're trying to sink you. See, that's the thing is Gavin Newsom has the ruthlessness and the fucking recklessness, but like, I don't know, everybody's kind of mad at Gavin Newsom because he's been like platforming Charlie Kirk and Steve Bannon and shit. You're like, please, not Gavin. Dude, right now, I hate to say this, but right now, still, Gavin is my front runner. And simply because he is ruthless. The man is fucking ruthless. You've seen articles saying GOP is worried about Gavin? Oh, yeah. You know why? Because Gavin is performing for their base right now. He's like not freaking out. I watched him with Charlie Kirk, and I was like, oh, bro. I feel like he's playing the game. So check this out. The thing about this is right now, everybody's like, Gavin Newsom is kowtowing. He's turning his back. Everyone's like, Gavin Newsom. I see a lot of Democrats and leftists. They just hate Gavin Newsom. But what he's doing is he is proving himself as a capable politician, capable of standing in the furthest right sections and not folding, not like, looking incapable. Okay? He doesn't look like he can't hack it. And in fact, when you look at Charlie Kirk, you notice that Charlie Kirk didn't attack Gavin Newsom. Steve Bannon didn't attack Gavin Newsom. Even Charlie, if you watch Charlie Kirk after the podcast, Charlie Kirk was defending to his own viewers of why he didn't cutthroat, like go in and shred Gavin Newsom. He was actually doing damage control. Charlie Kirk was on his own show. Here it is. Watch this. This is the video. Watch. This was Charlie Kirk after he went on Gavin Newsom. Now watch this, though, because Gavin Newsom is universally reviled by the right-wing people. They hate him. They think he's ruined California, horrible. They think he's scummy. So when Charlie Kirk went on Gavin Newsom, there was like an impetus for Charlie Kirk to go in there and like shred Gavin. And he didn't. In fact, Charlie Kirk gave up some of the strategic things they did, and he bragged, and he kind of sought Gavin's approval, but Gavin's like not really concerned about that. He's more concerned about exercising dominance over these right-wing figures. Because ultimately, when you get down to the presidential candidate in the presidential race, it's not about being honest. It's not about being truthful. It's about presence. And you want to be the guy who is unflappable.
So this is kind of how it all started. Gavin said that, Governor Newsom said that his son is a big fan of the Charlie Kirk show. And that he really wanted to come to the studio. And I responded off the cuff and rather sharply. And I'll tell you, when you have conversations like this, you see, Governor Newsom was being overly effusive in his praise towards me. So you have to kind of meet the interviewer at his frequency. Remember,
you see that? He said Governor Newsom was being over effusively with his praise for me, so I had to meet him. I had to be effusive back. You see that? Like, dude, just watch this, though.
I'm a guest on his show. So here's a guy who I believe has done incredible damage to the most beautiful state in the country, that I believe has done like just unspeakable harm to the great people of California.
But he's going to go on his show and he's not going to challenge him at all. Huh. Okay, Charlie, that's weird.
So here he is kind of throwing on the praise. It's a difficult thing because you don't want all of a sudden look as if you're just coming out like super aggro. At the same time, you must challenge. So I'll try to get in a couple little one-liners here or there. Listen carefully. Play cut 174.
Look at what he plays.
Last night, trying to put my son to bed, he's like, no, Dad, what time? What time's Charlie going to be here? What time? And I'm like, dude, you're in school tomorrow. He's 13. He's like, no. This morning, wakes up at 6 something. He's like, I'm coming. I'm like, he literally would not leave the house.
Did you let him take off school?
No, he did. Of course not. He's not here for a good reason. But the point is
you canceled school for like 2 years. One day.
The point is the point.
Think about this, though. Think about the optics of this. Okay, first off, Gavin Newsom can't control what his son likes or doesn't like. Okay, and we don't really know if his son likes Charlie Kirk because he likes the message, or if he likes Charlie Kirk because he thinks he's a fucking dumbass. But let me tell you this. He doesn't hate his son. He's fine with his son being into Charlie Kirk, and he still leads his son. He's a leader of men. You see the shit that it telegraphs here? He's like, I'm so confident in what I do that my kid can like your content and I'm not even threatened by it. That's a power move. It's a very subtle one. But you notice what Charlie did is Charlie threw in the zinger about the COVID lockdown or whatever. And then Charlie looked nervously at the camera. And look at Gavin. Gavin is unaffected by his zinger. Gavin's not going to take the bait. He's not going to get riled up and feel like attacked because of the COVID lockdowns. He's not going to be baited by that shit. But like, did you see the way look at Charlie, the expression on his face after he makes that zinger. Watch Charlie's face.
He literally would not leave the house.
I'm going to freeze
Did you
it.
let him take off school?
No, he didn't. Of course not. He's not here for a good reason. But the point is the point.
You canceled school for like 2 years. One day.
The point is the point.
Did you see that? Right there. Look at that. He's like, oh, I landed a zinger. And he's looking over at the camera or his people. We don't know what he's looking at, but he's looking at somebody trying to be like, aha, I landed a zinger. He's performing. He's trying to throw something in there. But if you look at this interview, Gavin never does that. He never does that in this whole interview. No matter what Charlie goes for, no matter how Charlie tries to goad him, Gavin is like Mr. Cool, Mr. like no bait taking. Now, again, my thing is this kind of shit with the amount of leftist shit that Gavin did. I don't believe that Gavin Newsom is all of a sudden like converting to right wing. I believe he fucking hates these guys. And I believe he wants to fucking take these guys and fucking shove their face so far down in the mud that they fucking choke on their own fucking vomit. But he knows that the way to do it is to be the guy who is in total fucking control. Oh my God, yeah, if he won the presidency, the right wing would fucking shit themselves, guys. They would be so, like, they wouldn't be able to let go of it. It would be like Obama winning a fucking third term because they hate him.
I was the first guest on the program, and I wonder if there was something to do with his son. And so, but we are reaching the next generation. We are reaching young people, and one of the pieces of...
They are absolutely going after young men. They are trying to radicalize young men. I don't know if they're reaching the younger generation or the next generation, but they have figured out that their particular brand of homophobia and transphobia and misogyny and like wealth and power and you get to be dominant without having many skills, they have gone and tried to weaponize that with young men. But the thing about this is Charlie's doing damage control here for his own fans. And that says a lot, guys. The fact that he is doing damage control, he's feeling the need to walk his fan base through why he did this thing and why he wasn't more aggressive.
By the way, the media is covering this all live. It's big coverage about how Gavin Newsom is breaking with the Democrat Party. Daily Mail, Fox News, across the board. Here's going to be interesting for Gavin Newsom. Look, it's not worth our time whether or not the shift is legitimate or not. I don't think it's legitimate. I think it's all just political opportunity.
Of course it is.
Will the Democrat Party put up with a candidate like Gavin Newsom who's trying to moderate his views? Will they allow somebody to say, nope, actually, no men in female sports?
But see, Gavin Newsom didn't say anything about female sports. Okay, Charlie said that. Charlie laid into that. All Gavin Newsom said is, I get that it's a question of unfairness. I get that it's an issue of unfairness. And I agree with that. But like, what's crazy about it is if you actually listen to the words, he never acknowledged, like, and then he also leaned in and said, hey, these people are marginalized. Like, they're really suffering. Like, we do have to take the humanity of their experience. But what's crazy about it is Daily Mail, New York Post, Fox News, they all ran with Gavin agrees with us. He's turned his back on the party. Now, again, though, we don't know how this is going to play out. I think it's more likely than Gavin Newsom spends a couple of years not bashing them for their viewpoint. And then when he actually takes his stand, he takes it in a way that's palatable, where he kind of sidesteps the issue that they're trying to boil it down to while also defending human rights. And again, that'll remain to be seen.
To try to help rebuild the image. And we went right in, by the way, on all the race stuff, Prop 16, legalized racial discrimination. I also challenged him on the most radical trans law in the country. And to be honest with you, we'll play this tape of when I challenge him on the most radical trans law. He's so slippery when it comes to the California stuff. He'll argue from authority, be like, no, that's not actually what the bill says. This. And I know he's wrong, but I don't have the bill handy. So it's...
You see this? He is basically saying, like, I couldn't corner Gavin Newsom. This is very telling, guys.
You kind of get lost in the details there.
See, this is what I'm talking about. This is what I like about Gavin Newsom, is Charlie Kirk goes on Gavin Newsom's podcast where Gavin Newsom says, my fucking son loves you. And Charlie Kirk is here to his own people. Well, I didn't have the bill. I couldn't. He's slippery, right? Charlie Kirk is doing damage control after that thing. Gavin Newsom has said nothing. He then went on to Steve Bannon, and he's like on his fucking mission. But Charlie Kirk, instead of Charlie Kirk coming back to his show and saying, look how I destroyed Gavin Newsom, Charlie got cooked, and he's trying to fucking process it.
But I'm still glad I brought it up.
But anyway, back to my point. One of the things that I look for in a presidential candidate is somebody who can handle the rigors of the job, because the job of the president isn't always to be a likable guy. It's a person who is effective at like being crucified and climbing down off the cross and getting the job done. And so let's talk about this, okay? Because now AOC, I feel like she has a lot of promise. Now, Tim, again, I feel like Tim Walz is probably a better, more genuine human being than Gavin Newsom. I'll give you that Tim Walz is probably a better fucking person, just a better all-around human being than Gavin Newsom. But I don't know if Tim Walz's like good guy nature is capable of winning a national election, especially if he's going up against JD Vance, who is like a smooth talking, lying piece of shit. And now it's hard, right? Now AOC, I think Kamala Harris should run for governor of California. That's what I think. I think AOC should take Chuck Schumer's Senate seat. And then after she's in the Senate, she should run for president down the road, I think. Okay, here's what I'm curious about, though. Right now, what I'm curious about is, what is Bernie doing? Where does Bernie fit into this? Because he's going to be too old to run, but he's like the king of the groundswell movement, the far left movement. So what is Bernie going to do? Who's he going to pass the torch to? Would Bernie, if Gavin Newsom picks up steam and becomes this guy that everybody hates, but it can get the votes, would Bernie partner with him? Right? How does that look? That's the thing that's like, oh, fuck, bro. What are we doing? Because, like, I think Gavin Newsom is kind of smarmy, highly capable. He is slick as fucking shit. Dude, he had Charlie Kirk on his show. He's been vilified by the press. They set him up as, oh, he's now anti-trans, which I don't believe he is. And then Gavin Newsom, though, like Charlie had to do damage control after Gavin Newsom. And that's really telling. Oh, I didn't have the bill in front of me. Gavin was very slippery. Dude, like Gavin is something about him is if the whole goddamn world finds him like trashy and hates him, he still can walk out into that room and be like, I'm winning this thing. There's something about him where it's almost like the more you hate him, the more he feels like he's capable of winning. It's weird, dude. It's fucked up. But like, I don't know like what that would look like with the Democratic Party, because the Democratic Party is in a shambles right now. We are in a shambles, right? And you got Ken Martin in there and David Hogg. But like, dude, for me right now, Gavin Newsom is still the front runner, just because I don't feel like Gavin Newsom is the best human being of the bunch, but I believe he might be the best capable of being able to just dominate and win. And now Charlie Kirk is here defending how he behaved on Gavin Newsom. And so any Democratic politician, after they have a Republican on their show, the Republican is defending their behavior to their own audience. Any Democratic politician who's doing that, where they're not openly punking them and owning them, but they're kind of apologizing for how they got cooked, that is somebody that is fucking dangerous to the Republicans. Dangerous. Okay? And that is a quality that I want in a president more than anything. I want somebody who is fucking dangerous to those motherfuckers, where they are scrambling to cover their ass after they interact with them, because that's what we need. What is up, guys? Thank you so much for watching. You like the video, you want to support independent resistance media, you know what to do. Drop that sub, hit the like button, and please share it. And we do love our members, so if you want to become a member, it's another really great way to support. Thanks again for everything, guys. I'll see you next time. Let's go.